Good day to everyone. For this video, I will be answering your questions for accounting for share capital transactions. So the first question is, if there is no bidder, all the delinquent shares will be issued in the name of the corporation. Why so? Okay, so pag-usapan natin muna ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng delinquent shares at bakit ba nagkakaroon ng delinquent shares? Ano rin ang bidder at bakit kung sakaling walang bidder ay it will be issued in the name of the corporation. Okay. So the story is nagkaroon ng authorized shares. And as authorized, pwede itong i-issue. May mga shareholders or may mga investors expressing their intention to subscribe the shares. Kapag sinabi nating subscribe shares, ang ibig sabihin nito, ito yung portion or ito yung shares na may intensyong bilhin pero hindi pa fully paid. Okay. So, dahil hindi pa ito fully paid, portion nito ay bayad na, portion nito ay nasa subscription receivable pa. Now, kagaya ng normal na utang, merong time na binibigay para sa loob ng period na ito, kailangan mong makapagbayad. And that is, in the case of shares, 30 days ang sabi ng Corporation Code of the Philippines. So kapag ka naningil na and in 30 days hindi pa rin nagbabayad, ay it can be considered as delinquent share. So pag sinabi mong delinquent share, ito yung mga shares na hindi pa fully paid, nasingil na, hindi pa binabayaran. So what is the option of the corporation? The option is to offer it in public auction. Okay? So, ibig pong sabihin, ipapa-auction natin. So, sa auction, dun papasok yung mga bidder. Okay. Ang ina-identify nating bidder dito, yung highest bidder. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng highest bidder? Sila yung mga willing magbayad ng pinakamalaking amount sa pinakamaliit na shares na matatanggap. Kaya siya tinawag na highest bidder. Ngayon, kung walang bidder, what will happen to the delinquent shares? The corporation may reacquire it. So kapag ka ganun ang senaryo, nagkaroon ng reacquisition, it will be issued in the name of the corporation in the form of treasury shares. Okay, so that hindi siya remain as delinquent shares. So kapag ka siya ay nasa pangalan na ng korporasyon, magiging treasury shares na siya, pwede na siyang i-reissue or eventually ay i-retire. Okay. Second question. Recording transactions using the memo entry. Oo, may mga tanong din na sama na natin yung tanong na why is the memo entry method commonly used than the journal entry method? So to answer those two questions, let's have or illustrate here a comparison of the two methods of accounting for share capital. The first one is the journal entry method and the second one is the memorandum entry method. Okay. Meron din kasing nagtanong na bakit daw memo entry yung ginagamit. Usually, mas sanay daw tayo sa journal entry method. Okay. So, to answer that, kapag po memorandum entry method ang ginagamit, it doesn't mean na wala tayong journal entry. Okay? So, ang pinagkaiba lang nila class actually, the major difference is in terms of the accounting for the authorized share. So, kaya tinawag siya na memorandum entry method kasi in recording the authorized shares, instead of doing a journal entry, you just make a memorandum entry stating that the company was authorized to issue share capital of 100,000 divided into 1,000 shares with par value of 100 per share. So, simple, memo mo lang, sinusulat mo lang. On the other hand, kapag ka journal entry method ang ginamit mo, you will be using account titles. And the account titles to be used are the authorized share capital, the authorized share capital and the unissued share capital. Authorized will be credited and unissued share capital will be debited. Pero the moment na nagkaroon ng subscription, it will give you the same journal entry. Okay? Subscriptions receivable and subscribed share capital. So it's the same. Same entry for the journal and saka memorandum entry method. Kapag nakakolekta ng subscription, katulad lang din sila. Mag-debit ka ng cash, mag-credit ka ng receivable. Just the usual collection of receivables. Kapag ka fully paid na, nag-issue ka na ng stock certificate. So, ang kaibahan lang nila dahil nakapag fully paid na, ang usual na ginagamit natin, sinishare capital na lang natin. Pero kapag journal entry method, kine-credit natin yung unissued share capital. So, dun lang manggagaling yung difference nila. Kapag ka nagkaroon na ng issuance. Sa issuance, kapag ka memorandum entry yung ginagamit mo, you will use the share capital. Kapag ka journal entry method ang ginagamit mo, i-credit mo lang yung unissued share capital. Okay? The unissued share capital and the authorized share capital are account titles present in the journal entry method but not present in the memorandum entry method. Other than that, they are the same. Okay? I have also clarified before that the share capital is a general account title being used, but for specific account titles that can be used, it can be ordinary shares or preference shares. The moment that you make entry for share premium, you can identify if the share premium is a share premium for ordinary shares, a share premium for preference share, for treasury shares, for example. Okay, so that's basically the difference between the two. Now, bakit mas commonly ginagamit ang memorandum entry method? Kasi mas simple siyang tingnan. Okay, kapag pinresent mo siya sa financial statement sa shareholders equity portion, mas simple siyang tingnan. Okay? Dito identified mo na agad kung ilan yung share capital, kung ilan yung outstanding share capital, or kung ilan yung issued share capital. Dito kasi sa journal entry method, para malaman mo kung magkano yung issued capital considering the accounts or considering the journals na ginamit or the records na ginamit, kailangan mo munang i-identify kung magkano yung balance ng unissued. Pag na-identify mo yung balance ng unissued, ibabawas mo siya sa balance ng authorized at dun mo palang malalaman ng issued shares. Unlike kapag ka memorandum entry method, tingnan mo lang yung capital or tingnan mo lang yung balance ng share capital mo, you can identify already how much is the issued shares. Okay? Next question is, why do companies increase share capital or authorize share? Okay, so the question really is, why do companies increase share capital? But to answer that, it is probably why do the share capital increases? Okay, so syempre kapag para mag-increase ng share capital mo, mag-i-issue ka ng shares. But the question could be, why do companies increase authorized share? Okay. Babalikan natin yung naging discussion natin. Sabi natin, authorized shares are actually the number of shares, the maximum number of shares that the company is authorized to issue. Authorization is being given by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Ibig pong sabihin, kung 100,000 ng shares na authorized mo, hindi ka pwedeng mag-issue ng more than 100,000. However, pwede mong pataasin ang iyong authorized share. Ang gagawin mo lang, i-apply mo lang ulit siya sa Securities and Exchange Commission at dapat merong approval bago ka mag-issue ng panibagong shares. Now, ano yung possible reason bakit ini-increase ng kumpanya ang kanyang authorized share? Bakit siya mag-a-apply for an increase in authorized share? Sabi nga natin, ang authorized share ay intended para i-issue. At kaya tayo nag-i-issue ng shares ay para raise tayo ng fund. Okay, so basically, the reason why companies do increase their authorized share is to have additional shares to be issued to acquire more funds. Okay, so may mga iba-ibang reason bakit kailangan ng company ng more funds to probably for their operation, meron silang expansion and those things. Last question is what usually happens if a holder fails to pay for unpaid subscription? Can he still retrieve or refund what he has paid for joining corporation, or it will lose his rights to acquire it? It will lose his rights to acquire it. Okay. Um Now kapag dumating sa punto na meron tayong holder na hindi nakabayad ng kanyang subscription, yun yung sinasabi nga na yung portion na hindi niya nabayaran ay magiging part ng delinquent share. Okay? Dahil hindi pa fully paid yung kanyang shares na sinubscribe, hindi pa pwedeng i-issue sa kanya yung shares. Okay, so alimbawa, 1,000 shares yung kanyang sinubscribe, yung 700 na bayaran na niya, yung 300 hindi pa. So, the 700 portion is considered to be paid, but no shares will be issued dahil hindi pa fully paid yung total subscription. Ngayon, what will happen to the 300? The 300 now will be the delinquent share. At kagaya nung napag-usapan natin kanina, the delinquent shares will be offered in public auction. Okay, the moment na nagkaroon na ng highest bidder, halimbawa na ibenta na si delinquent share. So ibig sabihin nabayaran na si delinquent share. So technically, the 700 na nabayaran na nung original subscriber at yung 300 na binayaran ng highest bidder, the 1,000 shares that are originally subscribed will now be fully paid. So kung fully paid na yun, the 700 will go to the original subscriber and the 300 will go to the highest bidder. So in that sense, um, if the holder can still retrieve or refund what he has paid for, so I think there's no need to retrieve or refund it. Bakit? Kasi hindi naman nawala yung kanyang, like for example, subscriber siya, entitled pa rin naman siya sa dividends. However, dahil naging delinquent shareholder na siya, meron lang mga rights na tatagtagin sa kanya. Like for example, yung right na magboto at right na iboto. So, hindi na siya makaka-receive ng ganong right. However, entitled pa rin siya sa um, pag-receive ng dividends. Okay? So, basically, that was or those were the implications if a subscriber failed to pay all of his subscription. Okay, so that's it for this video. So I will be preparing other videos to answer your questions on other topics. Okay. Again, a good day to everyone. Keep safe and God bless you all.